Welcome in for the next episode of Kingdom Business Conversation. Today we have with us Tommy Trimm, entrepreneur, multiple businesses, married, 2 kids, and 1 grandkid. Stay tuned. Well, it's nice to have you on, Tommy.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Welcome. And, we just met Tommy, what?
Maybe a month ago.
About a month ago. Yeah, about a little over a month ago at a home show. And, you just kind of came and we just got to talking about God, man. I think we talked for like 2 hours at the home show and just, you kind of shared your story, shared where you've been, shared what you've went through, in business. And I was like, man, I'd just really love to have you on this podcast just to share, because I just think it's a beautiful story of just hard times, but then also like the redemption side of God. So If you kind of just want to go in and share your story.
Yeah, I think when I met you guys, I was fresh off of a mission trip that I had done the week prior.
There you go.
And I had been doing those mission trips when I was earlier in my life. And then I kind of got away from that and kind of lived, I guess, a more worldly life and started searching for things that what I thought were more important. And then went through a lot of series of hell, I guess you could say. We had a few setbacks in life. In 2003, we had a 5-foot flood in our business, and I lost everything I had when I was 40, in my early 40s.
What year was this?
In 2003, May the 7th of 2003. We had a major flood. It was a eye-opener for a lot of things about, how tough life can be. Then they have no control over that. So we went through that. Of course, we all went through the 2008. And then about 2009, I was looking for another way to try to get more money in. So we started a small retail location that started doing fairly well. About 2014, we moved again, and I moved again. I triggered an audit from the state, which came in, and they said I owed them $500,000. So I fought that from 2014 until 2018, and that kind of came to an end.
Right there.
I didn't quite have it. And so that was for 4 years of having that in the back of your mind as we were fighting that. And then in 2018, I remember Thanksgiving of 2018, we were having our Thanksgiving. I could not, because I had to quit selling work, trying to be honest. If I had taken, say, a $100,000 job and took a $30,000 deposit, it'd be fraud. Basically, I didn't know if I was going to be able to finish the project or not. So that took out a lot of my revenues. So my wife and I had to supplement whatever savings we had to keep the business running until we had some sort of resolution. And about 2 weeks after that, they came in and wanted to seize all of our assets if we didn't pay the bill. And so we ended up having to put the company in bankruptcy to protect it, put it in federal court. The not knowing when you go through something like that, you're going down a hole that you don't know how you're going to come out of. And if you do, what's it going to look like? And so I had lived in the world, I guess, and built what I thought was my stature, in the neighborhood. And I was on several committees there in town that
were billboard or something.
It was, it wasn't that, but it was just, I was well known. I live in a small town. And so you start thinking about your ego and what people are going to think. So that I listened to a lot of Charles Stanley during that time, I guess. And so had to kind of just really focus on, if what's left. And then what you do have is you have God, you have your family, you have your friends, but more or less you have God first, you have your family first, second. And then we went through the process, not knowing how it was going to end, what was going to be left. Wasn't much left when it was all said and done. I was down to 1 truck and a trailer. And I said, well, if I have to just go do jobs by myself,
I was about to say, you got what you need.
That's what I'll do. The main thing I wanted was peace. I didn't have any peace. I hadn't had peace for 4 years.
There you go.
And so it was a lot of sleepless nights. You wake up if you ever woke up in the middle of the night 2:00 in the morning.
What is going on?
This is how am I going to do this?
Yeah.
This is coming up. So I went through that period, and then we started over again in 2019. I had an old 71 Toyota Land Cruiser that I had restored, and a friend of mine wanted it. I said, well, or actually he wanted to sell me some land. And I said, well, I don't have any money. I said, but he said, well, you got that Land Cruiser. I'd like to get that Land Cruiser. And I hadn't driven a thing in 2 years. I have a weird thing about me. I feel like if I'm not performing well, I don't need to indulge myself in anything. Mm-hmm. And so that was one of my indulgements because it was something I'd spent 7 years restoring.
Yeah. It's like rewarding.
Right,
for
right.
Well done.
So I didn't really feel good riding around in it because I thought, I'm going through all this stuff, and it was pretty public. And I think I mentioned to you about failure. We all fail in business. Mm-hmm. And failing in public is a little bit, you can fail in private. No one knows.
Yeah.
You can do something dumb and fix it. No one ever sees it. But when you fail in public, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So anyway, I didn't drive the thing for a couple of years, I guess. And so I traded it for some land. And from that land, I built a business from that piece of land, that piece of dirt, put a fence around it, got a trailer. COVID came along in 2019, and it went crazy.
Yeah.
And so we went from zero revenue to about $5 million in about 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you look at how much like the quick moment of failure in our eyes then gets transformed into actually a launching pad into something greater.
The door's got to close sometimes.
It's cool.
Even if you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
A door needs to close.
It's that posture of the heart, right? Like, and that's
Right.
what I'm hearing is like a lot of that, the posture of your heart was,
Right.
If to build upon the wrong foundations and you keep
Right.
building that higher and higher.
Right.
And for ego or pride's sake, it comes up and it's like, okay, so what was this really being built upon?
Right.
We keep ourselves humble. Like it's the number one killer of really most businesses is the ego. And you look at large companies, small companies, like it's an ego thing. It's pride.
Right.
It's
Pride comes from
pride.
the fall.
Yeah, pride or ego.
It's always going to be the killer.
Yeah.
And I've always heard that saying that nothing fails like success. Mm-hmm. And so even like today, I have to start my day every day with thankfulness.
That's right, dude. My favorite song is literally wake up feeling grateful and thankful. It's like I just play it every morning almost, just because it's like the words that come out of our mouth as we wake up and Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is so important. Like the things that really matter at the end of the day too.
Right.
It's like we talked about it outside for a minute. Was we could have all these material things, but they're gonna vanish. They're gonna fade away. It's gonna rust. It's temporary. The things that really matter are eternal. The people's hearts, their souls. And me and you were talking earlier about that too. Was like, even if we only have 6 months with a person, we pray and we hope that their life is transformed in a way where they're actually seeking and understanding who they are, and they're seeking more of Christ because of the time spent with men of faith. And again, like, I guess my question for you, like during that time, it's a lot of time frame. What is one of your biggest learning lessons that you've ever had in the areas of business? I mean, it sounds like if you had a team that you've worked with, or have you always tend to ran at it alone?
I had a partner early on, and that didn't work out very well. I think sometimes you look for other people to be that source, and really it could be God, it could be your spouse, it could be just really time alone thinking things out. But I think learning that you already are enough. You don't need that other person. You want to seek out advice as much as possible, and you hope that you could be a person that someone will call you and get advice from. Mm-hmm. I had a guy call me on the way over here, actually. He has a small detailing business and very successful. He does. Everybody calls him. He does very well with his business, and he talks to me all the time. Every time he does one of my vehicles, and he'll say, "Hey, what can I do to expand my business. And so I came across a opportunity that might help him. And so he said, well, I'd like to sit down and talk with you, or I'll have a guy that was cutting my neighbor's yard. And he said, I would like to talk to you. People, it can be what I could say is it's what could have been a deficit for me by people knowing my story and knowing my failure has become an asset for people who come to me.
Yeah. And people relate based upon our weaknesses, right? I was like, for mine, like I always looked at myself as a uncourageous individual who lacked the ability to go build something on my own, really, in ways, which has been built with a team,
right?
But also go help and like go build it, and like have the belief or faith. And sometimes you do need those people around you that will instill belief into you,
right? What is who you surround yourself with? Right. And I think the partner that I had before was not a Christian.
Yeah. That matters.
Cheated on his wife several times. That was just a thing he was proud of.
You got to be equally yoked. Like if you're not equally yoked with, it's just like in a marriage, right? I would say a partnership, even in business,
right?
If not having the same moral compass, the foundations of life, if you're not seeing the same value system as that person, if we don't choose to like, hey, we both seek God, we both ask for peace in our homes, we both are understanding and respectful of each other. We value each other's opinion, and we're working as a team, moving this ship together. You know, it's like now it's funny because we were talking about like you're steering the ship and I'm moving all the sails and making sure that the guys on the crew knows exactly where they need to be. You know, so it's just understanding, right? I was like, and a lot of those things where people I think miss it is not fully seeing where they're supposed to be seated within either, you hear it on the bus, like seated on the bus or on the boat. That analogy, right? I was like, just understanding, and then communication. A lot of people just assume way too much, especially in the areas of business. Clear communication is kindness. And
I do have a question for you about, so what would you say is the biggest piece of advice now that you can, after walking through just the rise and the fall, what is your biggest piece of advice that you could give other people? Or and also too, to add to that, not just the advice you can give, but also like your internal state in how you do business now versus when it rised and fell.
Another phone call I had on the way over here was with an accountant, and they weren't the right fit for our day-to-day purposes, but I think he's the right fit for big picture or planning. And it was becoming a conflict because we were too small for them to make that priority, and it was starting to make me annoyed. Yeah. And so instead of letting it grow and swelter into something that's out of control, I wanted to address it now. So we sent a message this morning, and he immediately called me, and I said, I'm not mad. It's just that I don't want to get mad. I don't want to let my temperament control. So I think a lot of times in business, I would let my temperament, I was probably immature emotionally where I was in business, where if you quote a project and you don't get it, you get upset. But when you're looking at it, that God provides everything you need, you don't need every project.
That's right.
It may not be the one you needed. And so you just say, move on. It's like that 5-minute rule. You can rant and rave for 5 minutes, and then you go, can't fix it, and you move on to the next thing. You can waste a lot of time being upset about things that didn't happen when that thing probably didn't need to happen. And I was telling someone the other day, we had probably over $1 million worth of work this year that was supposed to have been awarded to us. That was pulled from us at the last minute.
Government?
Somewhere. Some were just big projects that were here that they had some sort of political ties with someone else or favor that they wanted to do business with that person, and their boss pulled it from them. And it's a little aggravating, but when you start letting that get into your temperament or your heart, you got to let it go and just move on. And I think letting go of things and having discussion and honest discussion with people before it gets too late is better than harboring anything. If if you got anything and you just let it get out.
That's right.
But saying but you can always say it in a nice way.
And yeah, 100%. Like we talk
about that a lot.
I'm like, hey, if there's something that you're feeling, if there's something I'm feeling, like he already knows I'm going to come up and talk to him about it. Because I'm like, hey, there's something here, and like if I don't talk about this now, this is going to get worse and worse and worse. And we got to address what I call the hard conversations that people are like, well, it's going to be uncomfortable. I'm like, so what? So is not having the conversation.
Right.
So is delaying the conversation.
Right.
So just have it. I mean,
I went to a job site this morning, and they were doing something that was going to be harder to fix it later if they didn't take the extra preparation now. Mm-hmm. And they were saying, well, it's wet or whatever. I said, it doesn't matter. You want to do this, or you're going to do this. It's going to take you 3 times to do this later. Mm-hmm. And you can do it now, or you can do it later. So, and then I left with, you can do it either way. I don't really care. It's not going to affect me. I'm not going to do either one. Mm-hmm. You are. So it's up to you.
Yeah,
as I was driving out of the job and came back down on the highway, I looked up and they were doing it my way. Mm-hmm. But if I could have gone over there with a different attitude, with you're going to do this. And, I'm your boss. You're going to do this. But it doesn't work that way because I can't be everywhere. Yeah. So exactly I don't want to be everywhere. It's
understanding, right? Yeah. Like you come with understanding to the situation, and you may not know everything, but then also you have that intuition. Like, I can share one project we're doing, and the only solution to this is we have to remove this crown molding. Like, that's the only solution. Mm-hmm. The only solution is what you're telling me. That's whenever I hear those words, it makes me think twice, anyways. And so, like, well, you can't tell me that we haven't thought about more. Like, take a quick little bit longer on Google, looking into details, trying to figure out, like, hey, here's an option. Can we do this? There's also another option. Can we try that? Bring it to them, like, oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, so you're helping solve problems consistently. Like,
Chat GPT can be your friend, too, if you just ask Chat GPT.
Chat, man. I'm telling you, thank you, Chat.
It's something we're looking into. But
definitely lean into the world. I mean, the AI stuff, right? Like, I talked about this, was that yesterday or the day before? We were just like, hey, like, you either push away or you lean into. Mm-hmm. Just like people on the internet and Google, when all that stuff started coming out, they were like, oh, I don't know, we're not putting that. I'm like, okay, let's not become naive that this is the next wave of change. It's going to change a lot.
Yeah.
Just being aware. I'm like, hey, having somebody look, even if it's not you, right? Most entrepreneurs, business owners understand, like, it doesn't always have to be me that does that amount of legwork. Might have to task somebody, hey, a couple hours a week, can you start looking into
it doesn't have to be your idea.
That's right.
I mean, it just realize, okay, there's someone in this room that has a better idea than me. Let's play into that, and just being smart enough to say, I don't know.
I would say, the master himself, right? It's like, I think that's one of Mitch's strengths is learning to hear and say, okay, let's implement that. Like hearing the multitude of different thoughts, processes, and then just bringing it before the Lord. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay.
And I'm also very good at seeing the giftings in people. And I think I've always had that ability. But using it with Christ is way different, because I used to use that ability to manipulate people and get what I wanted.
Right.
Like I used to all the time. I mean, whatever job I did, I would make it so like I was doing the least amount of work and like everybody else, but I looked like the hero.
Right.
And like, but now I do it from a place of like, hey, I'm here to support you, but I also do it for like their benefit, because I'm like, hey, this is actually where you really thrive, like you really enjoy.
Right.
So how do we fit this into you? And then also you got to look too, is like, okay, where you are right now, you're stressed out, you're not this. So, okay, here's what I see as your giftings and your strengths. So how about maybe we move over here, because I see you have a lot of things to offer and you're doing good over here. But if you don't have peace and rest in the position that you're in, then you're going to burn out. You're going to get bitter. Mm-hmm. You're going to cause division, and those are just kind of all the things that you have to deal with, like in business. And I think the hardest thing for me is having those hard conversations sometimes. And I mean, I think he's just one thing he's helped me do is just have those hard conversations. Like I think God, I mean, right off the bat in this company, God forced me into some really hard conversations. I mean, it was like, he's like, yeah, this is one area I'm gonna grow you in through this, right?
That's the fun part for me, though. It's like,
well,
buddy, you're gonna go have that one. See you later.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm ultimately the one that is
I'm
having
like,
those.
well, this is that's what
Yeah.
I'm seeing, and unless you've seen something else, it's like you're the one who has to have a conversation on that one. I was like, yeah. I was like, if you want me to, let me know. But I mean, from having the conversations in the past too, I was like, they're never easy. They don't get easier. Those conversations they don't. But it's also that same level of like growth requires discomfort. It requires discomfort.
Well, you got to develop yourself and people, which
Like,
is development's
Yeah.
hard. I mean, every day you get up and you go, I don't like doing this. Well, yesterday I was having one of those days. I was doing things I didn't really want to do, and I just kept doing it, and I just felt really, something was bugging me. I just didn't like doing it, and then I just pushed it through.
That's right.
And then once you get past that, there's a thing in your brain. I've watched several podcasts about that once you do something that's hard, it does something positive in your brain, and you grow. You can scan your brain and see that there's growth in your brain when you actually do those things. Whether you deny yourself food, if you or don't eat a dessert, or you go work out at the gym or whatever. And there's things that are activated in your brain when you do deny yourself things and you push through. I think the comfort is always a thing that really bugs me. Is I don't want to be comfortable. Comfort to me creates apathy, and then you don't grow.
Yeah,
and
right.
So.
Well,
You should rest. I think it's in the Bible. You should rest, but comfort's not what you want to seek all the time.
I love what somebody said one time, and it was like, working out's hard. Not working out is hard.
Right.
So I just choose to work out.
With one.
You know what I mean? I joined CrossFit like 5 months ago, you know, and I just went this morning.
I chose to do CrossFit when I was 64 years old. Not a wise thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say your shoulders must love you.
No, I fell off my box and broke my elbow, and so now I've got about 30% use of my right arm now, and so I wouldn't advise it at 64.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully that I started at 45. I'll be all right when it gets to.
I mean,
I keep going.
You're younger at heart than 45.
I just keep going.
45 is very young.
It's I felt this question and really like maturity, right? Like, you know, you're a few years older than me, a couple, few, but maturity, like what is maturity?
Patience.
Yeah. So what is wisdom as well, right? Like what is
wisdom's, I guess, is willing to wait on a good choice or decision versus wanting to satisfy everybody wants immediate gratification in almost everything. So I think it's when you slow down long enough to wait for the answer, whether it comes from you, comes from God, or comes from another person through God. I mean, God does everything through people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen a message fly out of the sky, but it's usually through a person that He works with to.
My wife will say
counsel
otherwise, though, because she's 50% off of home goods on like flying across the sky.
Yeah, that's what happens.
She's like, oh, that's from God. I'm like, babe, that's not how
that's not quite what it works. You can hope that that's going to be the case, but that's usually not. But I think just being able to wait.
Yeah. Well, I think reason I asked that question, right, I was like, audience-wise, I think a lot of people who have heard the term leader or wanted to be a leader, and I do think there's certain levels of leadership inside of each person. But when you talk about patience, that's the one thing that we've seen in this culture now of instant gratification, instant media, instant microwave. It started with probably the microwave and toast, and it's just slowly went forward from there. Is there anything you specifically do as far as practicing and building almost in the muscle of patience?
Just walking away from something until the answer comes instead of staying in that situation. That's kind of like, I like having a separate office from everybody else in my company. It's 12 miles away. But they don't have to see me sitting there tapping my foot. So when I'm waiting for the answer, I can just wait on it and I'll go on to something else. And when I get the answer that I'm looking for, then I can move on. But, obviously running a business, or running multiple businesses, you have to have information. And so you've got to understand that they're busy, they're doing certain things. The client's not always available when you are. COVID kind of messed us up a little bit because, you'd go and everybody was at home.
Yeah.
And it's like you just assumed everybody's going to be at home. Like, hey, I'm just going to show up. You'll be there, right? And then now it's not the case. Now they're back to work and they're not working remote as much as they were. No. So we have to plan a little bit better than we used to. I mean, it really, you just had to show up during COVID. Somebody would be at home. Yeah. And someone would probably say yes if you gave them a quote.
A lot easier to make a sale when the person's there, right?
Right.
Now it's like open up to the door. I'm like, I hope they're here.
Yeah,
maybe.
Oh, go ahead and check out the roof.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's how many times we get that now?
We
go ahead, check out the roof. I'm not there. I'm like, no. Please be there so we can check out the roof and check out the attic and check out the inside and do a full 10-point inspection.
And it's good to have a face-to-face versus because we try to rely too much on send them a text or everything being done electronically whenever we might need to just have a face-to-face conversation. Because if I give someone a price about something, especially you're doing a project and it's well over $100,000, I want to see their facial reaction when I give them the price. And I'd rather get a yes or a no or feel what's going on versus walk away not knowing and then not having that connection with a client. But
it's when you give a price sometimes and you see them like you're like, okay,
I can't see that. I can't see that over a text.
You can't see that over a text.
You can't get the.
They were thinking like $3,000 and you're like it's 15,000. They're like,
and you can't get those inflections in their voices over a text. So
that's why it's amazing too. How many times it's that will always ring true, right? Is the having a conversation, the inflectuations in the voice, and being able to hear people. But we rely more and more and more on the texting style, which is that something that we push back against and still keep saying, well, it doesn't matter if they text, we need a call.
Right.
It's like, and at least see if we can learn more about them here, or where they're at, what's their biggest concern.
Going back to the patience thing too, something that just dawned on me that it seems like the lazier I am, the more I get done in that area. Because if I don't act on something and I need to call this person and get this answer. And you go, nah, I'm not going to call them. I'm going to do something else. And then about 30 minutes later, it's like, bam, there's your answer. And it's probably the answer that you wanted. Where if you just push and push and push, you're going to run that person. You're going to push that person away. I think the reason why I see you have more success, the lazier you are, because the less you push something, the more people are going to be attracted to what you're offering.
That's right.
Than when you're trying to sell it to them.
Yeah.
So
selling is, selling the sale aspect, right, is showing people this is what I can give you as an option, and I hope you choose me, and if not, then I understand, and I'm not supposed to be everybody's answer.
Right.
So. Any specific questions? We got about wrap it up here.
Yeah, I'd say we're getting ready to wrap it up, but anything on your heart you want to say before we close out?
Just for business owners there that are believers, practice your belief, because you can't really mix the two. People, I always hear this, people say, right when they're about to beat you out of something, they'll say, business is business. Like, no, it doesn't have to be that way. You can still do business with Christian values and get all the reward you need from that business. You don't have to live a separate life to be in business than the life that you live in your personal life.
Yeah.
And I absolutely can't stand that expression.
Yeah. It's the right that we talked about.
No one ever says it unless they're about to.
It's who we are.
Put it to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and they try to use that. Oh, you know how it is.
Right.
No, I don't know how it is actually. I was like, because
truth is truth.
This is the word. This is what I live by, and like how we're doing things is complete opposite of what we've been talking about now. And as again, it comes back to like honor, right? I was like in conversations with him, I was like, hey, I always seek to honor you and
Right.
make sure that you feel respected. And because he's the CEO president, you know, I
Right.
was like, and with that, there always needs to be a level of respect.
Well, I guess that wraps up our time here for today. And thank you for visiting us again, Kingdom Business Conversation, where leaders are always learning. And have a good day.